Okay, today I'm working on a 2011 Ford Fusion. This car's had intermittent AC issues for going on a year now. Originally I thought that it was maybe an issue with the evaporator freezing over, possibly that the temperature sensor on the evaporator was bad, because it would work intermittently. Part of the time you turn the car on and the AC would work and blow cold, and the other times it would stop and it would go warm, and then you could turn it off for a while and you may be able to turn it back on and then get it to work again. But I've got my scan tool in here and hooked it up, and you can see that fortunately for this car we've got an actuation test for the blend door position. So it says the left blend door position's in warm. The evaporator temperature is actually working properly. It rises as the compressor shuts off, and then when it hits a certain temperature, the compressor kicks back on and drops the temperature down. You can see it rising now, and the compressor just kicked back on, it's dropping. So it looks like the temperature's working and the evaporator's working right. And we've got the left blend door position at 67% warm and supply voltage. So if I come over here, I have the blend door control knob set all the way to as cold as it should go, and we get no change on the blend door position. So I'm rotating it right now and we're not getting any change. However, and the air that's blowing out of here is actually warm right now, as you'd expect from 67% on the blend door. That would be about halfway. So I'm going to command it to go cold. If you notice, the blend door position then drops down 21% and starts blowing out cold air. So the AC system itself is apparently working right. What we've got is a problem with the HVAC module. What I've done is I went to the junkyard and I picked out one from another 2011 Fusion. This one's seen some wear. I don't know if it actually even functions properly, but I'm going to go ahead and get this module out, replace it with this one, and see if we can then control the temperature. When the blend door controls are working, you can adjust it and it does work properly, but then it loses signal. It appears to lose signal, and then it defaults to around 67%. Well, after further investigation, it is not the HVAC module. So I installed the one from the junkyard and I thought it was working right initially, and then after a few minutes it did the exact same thing. It's working properly now. However, what it would do is it would blow AC just cold just fine. It would have the blend door position in the very low single digits, and all of a sudden you would hear it switch, and this would climb up to around 67%, and it would be on warm and it would blow hot air out. I did a little reading online, and I really haven't found any actual electronic or mechanical fix for it. But the one thing that I read that I tried is to take the temperature control knob and move it 1 to 2 clicks from the furthest cold position and leave it there, and it seems to actually work. I've been doing it on this one for several tries now, and I haven't had any issues with it switching back off. And also, when the old HVAC module was in, we actually had left the temperature control knob in this position here, And for the last week or so, up until I got time to work on this, it was not malfunctioning at all. So it seems like there is something to that on 2 different HVAC modules. If you leave it a few clicks from the coldest position, for whatever reason, with the computer controls, I read that there may have been a service bulletin put out on issues with this, and they possibly need reprogrammed or reflashed or whatever. Well, I don't want to have to go through all that trouble unless I have to, and it definitely does not seem like it's any actual issue with the air conditioning unit itself. That's functioning properly. Now, I also read that some people said that you could turn on the fog lights and then start the AC and it would work, and it seemed to work for several people. I tried it with this one. I couldn't get it to work. It was still reverting back to warm on the blend door. However, the couple clicks away trick does seem to work. So I'll get this put back together. So if we do have more issues with it, I'll make a follow-up video. If not, you can assume that this is a somewhat of a fix. So you can restart your car if you get it screwed up, and it'll reset itself enough that you hold it in that position. Luckily, I didn't buy a brand new module, you know, online. I got this used one from the junkyard, so I don't have a bunch of money in it. I thought it was worth the test. It didn't fix the problem. So what happens, as an example, you can see, hopefully you can see that on the scan tool. There it went, right there. I had it in the lowest position. It's been working fine for 10 minutes or more now. I kept it down in the lowest position. It automatically turned it to the warm position, and it's setting at 66%. And no matter how I adjust on the dial, we get no change. So I'm going to move it now 2 clicks from the bottom position, shut the car off, restart it. You can see that it drops down to around 3%, and it'll stay like that indefinitely. So if you're having this issue and you don't have a scan tool, or you're not sure how to fix it, you don't want to spend money, don't spend a bunch of money pulling your dash apart to replace your evap temperature sensor. Just try putting it a couple clicks off, see if that does it for you. There we go. We're at 3%. We're blowing cold. 55 degrees on the evap temperature. That should start dropping as the AC circulates the refrigerant. There, you can see it dropping. So anyway, you know, this is really not a fix. It's kind of just a workaround. It appears to work, but it's probably good enough for most people. I imagine most people don't want to have to spend the money chasing their tail trying to figure this out. You know, maybe there is a permanent solution. I'd be interested to know what it is if somebody else does. However, I think this is definitely worth the try because it's only a couple clicks off. There's really no appreciable difference in cooling capacity when you're off of that. I mean, it shows we're at 3% on the blend door, which is still really good. It's basically 100% cold. So anyway, I think I'm going to stop it here, and if I need to update it, I will, and give that a try if you're having issues with your AC working at first and then it just kicks off after the car's been running for a few minutes. So anyway, thanks for watching.